Okay, folks, James McCormick here with Digging History, and I'm giving you a really good close-up of a typical find that we find out on the battlefield, which is the three-ring bullet. Now, has been cleaned up, and you see the brown in the rings, and it's called a three-ring bullet because of the three rings here, not the rings with the brown in it, because but either or, there's three rings there, and commonly referred to as a Minet ball, which is a French term. And I get a lot of questions. Why are they white? Well, that's the oxidation of lead. After, 150 years plus, this thing turns white. Like I find bullets fired from the 30s, the 40s, they're also starting to turn white. And when you clean this off, I could literally clean this and make it look silver again. It would not take very much time, clean off the oxidation and really get down in it with with the brush. But this is how people know this is a Civil War bullet. And the first thing I do is I look in the side. So inside here, this is where the powder goes and it pushes the bullet out. Now, the first thing I noticed about this bullet, it was dropped. It's never been fired. I see no ramrod marks on the top. You usually will find where the ramrod crammed it down into the barrel. And then you can also see the ring right here, the manufacturer's ring where they molded that bullet. It's just been sitting in the dirt. So most likely a soldier was pulling out a cartridge, which was packed in paper, and it had the powder in it, and they would bite it and they would pour it down into the barrel, and then they would ram it home with the paper between the powder and that. And so sometimes they get excited and they drop one. So we find a lot of drop bullets. And this is definitely a dropped three-ring 58 caliber bullet. 69 caliber is a lot bigger than this. I mean, those are what we call the big boys out there. But some things that I do look for in the center are stars, and there's no star in here. So this is a latter war bullet, sometime after 1862. And from the area that I'm at, I'm going to estimate that it was from 1863 to 1864 time period. Another telltale sign that hasn't been fired, you see that ring right there? So that's part of the manufacturer's ring. So that's not a blast ring. There's no, blown out portions of this. There's no places where it struck the ground or hit a rock. But my telltale sign is always I look for the very tip, looking for ramrod marks. So of all the things you can find related to Civil War history, this is one thing that everybody just looks at and says, oh, that's a Civil War bullet. Now, you got to take into consideration, sometimes you find these all over places where there was no Civil War activity. It's because these soldiers brought these home after the war and they hunted with them for several years. So you may find three-ring bullets that were intended to be fired by soldiers. It's like any other war. We buy up the old war surplus. Back then it was easier to, they actually didn't have an issue with the Second Amendment back then. And you got to bring your rifle home with you and probably a couple hundred rounds of ammunition. And they would go out and they would hunt. They didn't waste ammo. They'd go out and generally, kill their game, and that's how they lived after the war. But this one came from down around the Potomac River, really close to the first Battle of Manassas, and probably the second battle. But there were also several camps, and there were several skirmishes in and around the area. And I suspect this came from a skirmish from around 1863, 1864 time frame. Do I know that for sure? Nope. But I do know that this is a cool find, and I wanted to give you just a little bit of an education on the Civil War three-ring bullet and why it is white, and also some of the things that you're looking for. Now, if you look in the center and you see a star, it's like an embossed star in the center of this cone that goes inside there, then you know that that's some of the original bullets that came from the Washington Armory. And so that would be probably very early war, a lot of 69 caliber bullets. And I have found some 58 caliber bullets with the star in them, but mainly they're 69 caliber. And it's really cool to find those because there's not as many of those as there are of these. So it does make them a little more valuable, I guess. I don't know. We don't do it for the money. But that is a Civil War 3-ring bullet from your friends here at Digging History. 5.5 minutes of explaining this bullet. I hope that it doesn't bore you, and I hope that you've learned something. If you have any questions, you can always email me at WV Whiskey Victor Purple Heart 1863 at gmail.com. That's WVPURPLE HEART 1863 at gmail.com. My email address is because I'm a West Virginian. I have Purple Heart. I actually have 3 of them, and the state was formed in 1863. So that's the reason why that I have WV Purple Heart 1863 at gmail.com as my email address, because I love my state, love my history. And I say to all of you, God bless America and have a great day.